Alexa, office lights on. Good evening, gentlemen. Steve here, and this is your Week 4 video newsletter. These are the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to go through our weekly awards, and then I have two metrics that I always like to look at that actually have nothing to do with the regular season. But here we go. The first award, the Ruby Award, goes to the manager that left the most critical points on the bench. And that goes none other than to your very own skills muncher. Lee Dio, had you started Sutton over Metcalf in your flex, you would have had those 20 extra points. You won your matchup, and you would have also been the Mike Award of the week. But you didn't, and you now sit at 0-4 with me and Tim. The next award is a Stumpy Award, and we have 4 recipients of this award this week. And I'm going to go ahead and call you all out. Your commission Mark, Alex, John, and Tebow and Tim. I went ahead and threw you in there. All of you failed to score at least 90 points. And in fact, we got as low as 55 and as high as 88. So step it up, gentlemen. This is fantasy football. All right. Next 2 awards is or metrics is the luck factor. So I always like to take a look at this because the luck factor talks about your luck with the Yahoo established matchups. For instance, let's take a look at Lee with negative 42.31%, which means your matchups have not been favorably due. You actually should not be winless, but you are because you've had some pretty tough losses. For instance, this past week, you scored the 3rd highest, and you would have beaten 10 other managers in any sort of random matchup, but you happen to play the manager that scored the 2nd highest this week, so that's very, very unlucky. Let's contrast that to Scott. Your luck factor is at 25%. So you've been having some very, very favorable matchups, Scott. But hey, that's how fantasy football goes. And then for those of you that have percentages closest to 0, it basically says that the number of wins you have is pretty much where you're supposed to be. So Sunit, Jaramillo, and Chris, the number of wins you have is pretty much where you're supposed to be based on the number of points you scored in the matchup you've had. So this is something interesting. It just gives folks like Lidu and Dino justification to complain and say that the fantasy football schedules hate them. And then also gives justification for Scott to say, I love fantasy football because I'm got 3 wins even though I'm not supposed to. And then also for folks like Chris and everyone else that's close to 0%, at least you're satisfied too because you are where you're supposed to be. All right, the other metric I have for this evening, gentlemen, is the power rankings. This factors out elements of luck factor, and ESPN provides power rankings preseason and midseason for the football teams, for basketball, for all the sports. So I use my proprietary software to develop power rankings for our league. Does this mean anything? No. Wins and losses mean something, not this, but it's always a fun metric to look at, and again, just something fun, at least for me, to calculate. All right, gentlemen. Good luck in week 5. Good week 4, and take care. Have a good week. Steve out.